Good afternoon, listeners. My name is Nathan Northcutt, and in this episode of Myths to Modernity, we are going into a deep dive about our current novel, The Hungry Tide, written by Amitav Ghosh. This novel is about a group of characters following their mission upstream in search of something specific to complete their journey. Throughout this novel, we are met with multiple elements and key themes, and our ending especially leverages Ghosh's theme of love, loss, and human connection. We keep returning to the story, wanting more, craving a deeper understanding of the nonverbal connection between Pia and Fokir. Despite our addiction to Bon Bibi and the powerful tale of the Bengal tiger, we felt that this love story deserved an extended cut into the real life through our alternative ending. Looking for your next vacation getaway, somewhere calm and relaxing with hints of adventure and discovery? Check out the 5-day, 4-night, all-inclusive cruise setting sail out of Venice, Italy. You will travel through the Suez Canal, across the Red Sea, and into the Bay of Bengal, where you will explore the Sundarbans and surrounding areas. Packages start at $6.99 USD, and there are additional fees for those returning alive. Wait, they didn't want us to mention that? Why is it in the script then? Anyways, back to the episode. We are exploring how the novel ended and how the original ending did not meet our needs. During this episode, our co-hosts Charli and Jeffrey will analyze how a different outcome could benefit the readers, and how the course of the story changes with a different outcome at the end. Let's hand it over to our hosts, Charli and Jeffrey, but before I do, we have a message from today's sponsor. Feeling hungry? Today's sponsor is Tidal Cafe, where the bold and strong flavors meet oceanfront views. Looking for something to fill your Saturday night? Head on down to the Tidal Cafe to watch the event of the strongest tidal movement that only happens once a year. Tickets starting at $29.99 includes a free beverage and a discount on your next visit. Looking for a bigger discount? Mention this Easter egg to the employees taking your order and get 10% off your order on the night of the tidal movement. Valid one per customer, exclusions may apply. Now let's get back to the episode.
Welcome back to the Myths to Modernity podcast. Today we will provide a synopsis of this week's story. The Hungry Tide by Amitav Ghosh follows the story of Pia, a cetologist studying the Irrawaddy dolphins of the Sundarbans, which lie on both sides of the modern border between India and Bangladesh. Pia's exploration of this tide country intersects with Kanai, a translator and business owner from New Delhi, who briefly visited relatives in the area as a young man, and with a local fisherman named Fokir, who guides Pia to discover her dolphins. We also meet Fokir's wife, Moina, and their son, Tatul, who struggle along with everyone in the Sundarbans. Kanai's deceased uncle, Nirmal, provides us with insight into the history and mythology of the Sundarbans and its struggles. His invaluable journal from 30 years earlier gives the reader a sense of life's potential and of the reality of this place. Nirmal's wife, Nalima, is an activist and leader of a local charity who empowers and inspires the women of these islands and challenges everyone she meets. Pia's character is very conscious of the environment and has dedicated her young life to protecting dolphins and their habitat, which humans are encroaching on. Her character symbolizes Westerners' good intentions and beliefs around saving wild habitats. Through the story, she faces the reality that the people of these lands being encroached upon are the poorest and are generally displaced with no home to go to. Kanai's character is highly educated for the Sundarbans, making him seem self-centered. He speaks many languages and can communicate with everyone in these lands, yet he is challenged to understand things deeply. His character symbolizes the idea that you can understand people's words without understanding the person and their circumstances. Fokir's character is a simple fisherman who is misunderstood throughout the novel. Pia sees they are similar in their love of the water and the creatures below. Fokir's character helps the reader connect to magical realism as his belief system is rooted in mythology, and he shares stories and traditions with Pia and Kanai, which piggyback on what we gain from Nirmal's journal. Fokir's understanding of the water and the lands of the Sundarbans is essential to the story's development and Pia's experience in locating the dolphins. Fokir is a positive example of what can be learned through experience rather than books. The story highlights the diverse ways that we each experience the world. Some are educated and privileged but do not understand the world around them. Others lack formal education and yet are utterly attuned with the natural world. At this point, at the point where our endings diverge, Kanai encounters the mud on Gargantola Island and decides whether to seek or accept help from others or lash out at others.
Hi there, I'm Charlotte Hart, and this is my co-host,
Jeffrey Munsmay.
And this is our podcast, Missed to Modernity, episode 687. Today we'll be taking a look at an alternate ending to Amitav Ghosh's novel, The Hungry Tide. Our alternate ending begins on page 268, where Fokir takes Kanai to the island of Gargantola. This island is essential to Fokir's character, as this is a place he travels with his mother. He believes that if you are true of heart, you will survive Gargantola and its inhabitants.
In our alternate ending, Kanai doesn't survive the island's perils. This shows that though Kanai has grown as a character, he is not true of heart and focuses primarily on his own gain.
Kanai will still get stuck in the mud in our version of the story. By getting stuck in this situation, we see a disconnect between Kanai and the culture of the Sundarbans. Others on the island have been taught to walk through the mud from a very young age, whereas Kanai doesn't learn and shows no desire to embrace the culture around him. This is where his hubris shows.
When Fokir returns to the island to help him escape the mud, Pia, Horan, and Fokir find Kanai's remains. And when attempting to get out, he gets tangled in the roots of the mangrove and trips back in the mud face first. Kanai waterboards himself, leading to his death.
The group takes Kanai's body and returns to Lucy Bari to inform Nalima of his passing. This leads her into a state of depression that has to be quickly brushed off due to the oncoming cyclone. The data from Pia's studies in the Sundarbans is lost due to the cyclone. She left her data in a rush to inform Nalima of the unfortunate news. They make it to the hospital and are protected through the storm, though Tutu and Moina don't make it.
Tutul ran to look for his father, and Moina followed him. Tutul goes to Nalima's house, as he assumes this is where his father will be, as he is close with Pia, who is staying there. By the time Fokir realizes that they're missing, he can't leave the shelter for fear of endangering everyone else.
After the cyclone ends, they find Moina dead in the ruins of Nalima's Nirmal study, but her body still protecting a still alive Tutu. This leads to our alternate ending where Pia names the project after Kanai, and she continues to study dolphins with Fokir as they begin to trade bits and pieces of language and other information.
In this ending, Fokir and Pia celebrate their love, which becomes romantic. They take care of Tutul together, and after months of studying dolphins, Horan gifts Pia a notebook in which she learns more about young Fokir.
Regardless of whether one reads Amitav Ghosh's original ending or ours, this story weaves together multiple narrative threads, including scientific research, including the rare Irrawaddy dolphins, the mythology of Bombabi and the protective goddess of the forest, and the complex relationships between humans in the natural world and the Sundarbans, where the boundaries between land and water are always mutating, always unpredictable.
The original ending of The Hungry Tide reaches its climax when Fokir sacrifices his life to save Pia during a cyclone, and she loses the scientific data that they painstakingly collected together. While tracking dolphins in the Sundarbans, she and Fokir formed a deep connection that transcended their language barrier. Fokir exchanges his life for Pia's as they struggle to survive the storm. The novel ends by combining these themes of loss, survival, and human connection in the face of nature's power.
In our alternate ending, we see the need to validate Pia and Fokir's love while extending it into the future. The story already features an inspiring love connection between Nirmal and Nalima, and their story is intertwined with social activism, family disapproval, and profound hardships related to their choice of the Sundarbans as home.
However, our alternate ending sees Kanai as more of an interloper, implying that his involvement in the Sundarbans, though invited by his uncle, is somewhat insincere and artificial. Even though his character shifts somewhat beyond its original high-mindedness and elitism to a more earthbound existence, we chose to vote him off the islands for his prurient interest in Pia. We engaged the mystical Sunderbun's Mud to reject him for being disingenuous, ultimately allowing Kanai to perish instead of the more virtuous Fokir.
As Fokir's wife and the mother of Tutu, we wanted to offer Moina a heroic death and a path to enable Pia and Fokir to come together. By shielding her son from danger, Moina continued to show her dedication to her family and her role as a healer until the end. We think our new ending allows for a more long-term happiness and a better world that disposes of the character we like slightly less.